If you can't wrap your head around the magnitude of your vision, I want you to go back to the day you experienced the problem you're trying to solve for. Why? Because if you're trying to build an obsession brand, the obsession is centered around the vision that you initially had when you started your business. Welcome to this episode, Brand Builder. My name is Maureen, a brand growth strategist that focuses on teaching product-based entrepreneurs the sales and marketing strategies they need to scale their beloved product brands into household names. So, when it comes to building brand obsession, I often get asked this question around what are the elements that need to be included when you are striving for obsession and you're striving for community. Before I get into the elements, I really want to level set one thing here, because many a times when I'm talking and interacting with brand builders, I often ask them this question: what is the vision that you have for your business? And do you know the answer that I always get over and over again is, I do not know. Well, that is the number one answer or thought that is keeping you stuck, that is making you play small. Because when you have the thought of, I do not know, you're minimizing your genius. How are you going to build obsession or community when you're minimizing your genius? How are you going to build obsession and community when you're afraid? How are you going to build that when you're literally playing behind the scenes? Brand building is all about showing up. Showing up for your people more than anything else. Showing up for that customer who's literally sitting right now trying to figure out how they can solve the problem that they're experiencing today. And so before you jump into the tactics, I really want you to ask yourself, what is your vision? And are you doing everything within your power to bring that vision to life? Or are you sitting down and coming up with all sorts of thoughts, with all sorts of justification and rationalization as to why this cannot happen? Because before we get into the obsession, we need to address the thing that will catalyze that obsession. And how do you build obsession from a strategic standpoint? You build obsession by literally working on brand positioning. What is brand positioning? Brand positioning is the blueprint of your brand development journey. It is the perception that you want people to have of your brand. And this is the thing, brand builder. If you do not do it, your customers are going to do it, the marketplace is going to do it for you, or your retail buyers are going to do it for you as well. And let me tell you, when they do it for you, they anchor themselves on things that don't matter. They anchor themselves on things like, oh, it's too expensive. Oh, the packaging is not good. And if you don't want people to anchor your brand on things that are unnecessary, you have to do this positioning work. And why is positioning important? Positioning influences the price point of your product. It influences your placement strategy. It influences your marketing strategy. It influences the customer you seek to attract. And it also influences how you show up. And what are the things you need to think about when you're trying to position your brand, when you're working on your brand development journey? The first thing, I know this sometimes can sound like a broken record, but you really need to focus on knowing who your customer is. I really want you to sit and do this work. Think about the lady or the man that is going to benefit the most from your product. Where are they shopping? What are their frustrations? What are their fears? What are their wants? What are their desires? And what's holding them back from achieving that? And today I'm going to use an example of a client of mine. She is an entrepreneur that sells lunchbox for kids. we did this positioning work so that she can start leveraging paid ads to amplify the growth of her business. When she was coming to me, she had 4 different customer avatars or 4 different customer profiles. And a lot of the profiles that she had created were profiles as a result of what she was leading her marketing with, meaning one of her value propositions is she sells sustainable, stainless steel lunch boxes. So it's all about sustainability, eco-friendliness, BPA-free. That was her anchor messaging across all her marketing channels, served her phenomenally well. However, it gave her different customer avatars. But when you're trying to accelerate the growth of your brand, there's usually that one person that you're talking to. In this case, we were able to narrow down her avatar to be the responsible mom. Why? This mom is really conscious about everything that the child is using, really conscious about what the child's lunch looks like. She's literally that mom that is going to put her child first because she's made that decision. That's her behavior. It's all about being that amazing mom. It's all about being that person who doesn't want the head teacher to constantly be calling her because the kid does not have lunch. That's her customer. You can see I was able to pull out that customer profile from really knowing what are the traits of a responsible mom? What are the traits of a mom who's really looking to buy something that is sustainable, something that is eco-friendly? How did I get that information? All that information was literally within the reviews, within the frequently asked questions that she was getting. So now, who is your customer? Then you jump into the second element, which is understanding the problem that your customer is going through. If we go back to the example I talked about, the responsible mom being the ideal customer avatar, the problem that the responsible mom is experiencing is that every lunchbox she uses tends to leak. So her current circumstance right now is she is trying to solve the problem of food leaking. She's trying to solve the problem of her child's food being soggy. Probably strawberry juices went into the crackers. So it's not giving that does not give the child a proper experience when they open the lunchbox. So we're solving for the leaking problem. So now ask yourself, what is the problem that you are trying to solve? And then figure out under what circumstances is your audience going to choose your product. In this case, the circumstance was when they're packing lunch for their kids to go to school. Now ask yourself, what is a circumstance in which your audience is going to choose your product? And then lastly, you have to do this work. You have to ask yourself, what is your audience currently hiring and firing? And this is why I talk about this. If I'm buying this new lunchbox, there is something else I am replacing within my kitchen cabinet. That activity always happens. If you're selling a product, that always happens. So what is your current customer using? And then what are they going to fire in order for them to use your product? In this case, the responsible mom is potentially using plastics, is potentially using another stainless steel product, but it's leaking. So in the event that they're buying this new commodity, they're going to let go of what they currently have in order to get this leak-proof container. Those are the 4 things you need to think about when you're trying to position your brand. And once you do that, you'll be able to figure out what is that transformation I'm talking about. In this case, for the responsible mom, the transformation is ease, for the fact that I pack my kids' lunchbox and they eat it exactly the way I packed it. It's convenience for them, meaning they're not going to constantly be leaving their jobs or their workplaces to go to school and deliver lunch to their kids because the child opened up the lunchbox and didn't find food. It is also just the value of the peace of mind. Like just think about it. If you're a mom, you're probably resonating with this. That is the transformation that this lunchbox is providing. So it's sort of like beyond the ordinary lunchbox. That is how I would potentially sell it. That is how you position yourself. That is how you build obsession. So right now, as you're thinking about standing out in a saturated market, you really need to evaluate those 4 elements that I talked about. And if you want to take this a step further, I want you to watch the video that's going to pop up on your screen where I'm talking about what builds a successful product-based business. In this video, I'm talking about all the elements you need to think about as well as encompass when you're trying to build obsession and really become the #1 choice in a highly saturated market. With that, my friend, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.